serving as catalysts of change. Get informed with Cheddar's News Wrap, weeknights from 5 to 6 p.m. The pandemic stressed us to the max. Our country, communities, and well-being were all impacted. But Cheddar Wellness is here to talk it out. By breaking down the current trends in the mental health space, interviewing industry leaders who are destigmatizing the conversation, and highlighting resources you can use to prioritize your own mental well-being. Tune into Cheddar Wellness Wednesdays at 1:30 p.m.
These long-standing issues of representation and inclusion have yet to receive solutions, and we're bringing you this show on Cheddar to address these matters head-on.
The Paycheck Protection Program was not designed to help those who are Black or Latino.
We can reframe the story for ourselves.
Right now, the point is to be uncomfortable in order for us to unlearn some things that are really going to move us forward in this conversation.
This is our future.
Welcome back to Cheddar News. Everyone, you are taking a live look at the stock market on this Friday afternoon. We have less than a half hour left in today's trading session, and we are getting the month and the quarter, the final quarter of this year, started on the right footing. The Dow up 1.6%, the NASDAQ higher by 0.9%, and the S&P 500 up 1.3% on the back of Merck developing a pill to fight the coronavirus, as well as an easing of bond yields, which is creating an environment that these technology names can rise. The 10-year Treasury yield down at 1.47%. Well, we do have some stocks on our radar this afternoon. Coty in focus, the cosmetics company announcing that it plans to sell another 9% stake in its Wella beauty business to KKR, a private equity firm. Coty had sold a 60% Wella stake to KKR last December, and the new deal values Coty's stake in Wella at about $1.4 billion. We can also take a look at shares of Shopify. Today, the company marking a new partnership with a major athlete. NBA star Jimmy Butler officially launching a coffee brand in partnership with Shopify through its creator program. These shares down just 0.1%. Big Face Coffee is what it's called, and it comes after the Miami Heat star started his company in the 2020 NBA COVID bubble in Orlando, selling cups of coffee for, get this, $20 each. Wow. All right, well, we just gave you the news here on Shopify. This is a key focus, especially for investors, just because of the popularity of Shopify. We're going to get things queued up here, and then we'll move on. C-suite shakeup at Electronics Arts also causing these shares to move. The video game maker saying its chief financial and chief operating officer, Blake Jorgensen, does plan to leave the company next summer, with chief studios officer Laura Neal replacing him as COO. EA saying it will begin the search for a new CFO immediately with the help of Jorgensen. EA is one of many gaming companies that benefited from the pandemic lockdowns, but work-from-home challenges have hampered the launch of its next big release, titled Battlefield 2042. Elsewhere, Lordstown Motors in focus, about to make a big sale of Foxconn, and shares taking a hit today. These two companies announcing Lordstown will sell its Ohio assembly plant for $230 million, and Lordstown shares right at their session low, down 16% on the day, trading at just $6.70 a piece. The company has faced some financial issues as it tries to start production of its first vehicle, an all-electric pickup truck called the Endurance. While Foxconn is best known for iPhone production, this deal does play into its efforts to break into EV manufacturing. We can take a look at shares here of Sony as well. Another transaction in the works, Sony acquiring Bluepoint Games, and taking a look at shares of Sony. They are on the move. Bluepoint, a studio that specializes in remastering old titles. Sony shares down about 0.7%. The company has faced pressure to deliver high-quality content for the PlayStation 5, with several games facing delays. Well, financial terms of the Bluepoint deal haven't yet been disclosed. All right. A historic NFT collection on sale at Christie's today. The well-known auction house selling off a set of curio cards, digital collectibles, considered the first art NFTs years ago on the Ethereum blockchain. And in a nod to their popularity, the 31 NFTs in total selling for 393 Ether, or about 1.3 million US dollars. Well, also up for auction today, original artwork that inspired ensuing NFTs by well-known entrepreneur Gary Vaynerchuk. Gary's the CEO of VaynerMedia and the creator of Veefriends, an NFT community. Gary joins me now. Gary, busy day for you per usual, so thank you so much for coming on. How did the auction go?
It went tremendously well. I mean, anytime you're in a position to see those kind of numbers on the board, on something that came from your mind, your imagination, that you drew, it was a humbling day.
Humbling day, collectively selling for about $1.3 million. These 5 drawings, absolutely incredible. Here's a breakdown. The empathetic elephant, gratitude gorilla, diamond hands, you're gonna die fly, and tremendous tiger. Pretty impressive, Gary. I do have to ask you, because you are the digital wizard, how does the fact that your original physical pieces were sold validate the work that you are doing on digital in the NFT space?
I think most people, listen, if people are just watching this and haven't heard of this project, they're like, what is even going on here right now? And for me, a lot of what's going on here right now is grounded in history with contemporary artists, the Warhols, the Pollocks. And I'm not saying I'm in that class, but I am saying Xcopy and many others in the digital space are this generation's that. For my project specifically, you have tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people who've been listening very careful for over a decade, and me talking about building intellectual property. And I think they're looking at this more as Disney sells, one of a kind, or the original cells from Star Wars or Transformers. And I have a lot of work to do over the next 40 years to build that intellectual property.
Mm-hmm. And here's a look at the auction that we saw transpiring on the internet. This was our view from the internet. Christie's earlier today, where Gary's art actually sold. Very cool. I do want to talk about these curio cards because they were on sale today as well, historic in their own right. I do wonder, fraud we know has been prevalent in the art market for decades, so how do you discern as an investor, as a consumer, between fact and fraud when you look at digital art like this?
I mean, that's the best part of the blockchain. There is no fraud involved in curio cards. It was easier for the pictures that I just sold to be fake than the curio cards that just went on the blockchain. That is the obsession of so many, that the provenance and the truth plays out on the blockchain much more than it did in the world that we all lived in. And curio cards is super interesting, right? Because earlier this year, it was all about CryptoPunks, and it still is, and I still believe that is the project. However, it was like CryptoPunks, the first project, CryptoPunks, the first project. And out of nowhere in March, it's like, wait a minute, there's this thing called curio cards that was actually before CryptoPunks. And unlike the world where we had a debate and have archaeologists look at the 1800s, 1500s, it was just on the blockchain that curio cards were, in fact, made before CryptoPunks, which then started to build momentum, culminating in today's iconic sale.
Mm-hmm. So I do want to talk more about the Ethereum blockchain, because that is, I think, what makes these curio cards in the auction today so unique. Is it the case that the Ethereum blockchain is still the best suited for digital art and NFTs?
I think it's by far the most developed on and most popular, but Solana is doing some really great work. I'm incredibly long ETH, I'm a fan. But the reality is, Yahoo was the leading search engine and felt like that was going to be the thing until Google came along in the early 2000s. And so anybody who will tell you that they know which blockchain to bet the farm on now is being completely inappropriate. We are just way, way, way too early in it. However, the scale and the momentum of the last 4 years, culminating in so much of what's going on now and the level 2 stuff and the London fork, there's a lot of reasons to be enthusiastic about Ethereum.
Okay, well, let's talk about the outlook for cryptocurrency. Tokens like Bitcoin and Ether soaring today. Finally, some reprieve. They're still off their highs, though. How much does China's crackdown on crypto affect this space?
I mean, look, every time China has done regulations, you've seen the market dip. I think the full-out ban that they're in now, and to see the prices where they are, feels as though it's priced in. I'm very uncomfortable talking about things that I don't know. I can talk about why human beings buy NFTs because I understand why people care about social media and fashion and the psychology of communication. Talking about currencies is out of my realm. And so, to answer your question directly, it feels like it's priced in because we're now at the absolute final spot with China. But the reality is currencies is not exactly where I play. I just don't understand it as well.
So you're not a cryptocurrency investor?
I am. I mean, I bought Bitcoin very early on. Big shout out to Aaron Battalion, years and years ago, and I sit on it because I do believe it has the brand. But no, I don't buy, Solana I'll buy for NFTs. I understand why you'll wear that yellow outfit, which is lovely, why I wear this hat, why people drive BMWs, why they want Warhols. I understand the psychology of communication. Currency and trading and financial arbitrage has never been a passion of mine or an expertise.
Okay, well, you've got a lot of accolades to boast already, Gary. Is artist now an emerging focus for you?
Yes, but in the way that I can do it, right? Again, I don't have any delusion that a lot of people look at my doodles and think it's garbage, but I also believe that that is not my point. My point is I'm drawing from myself because I want it to be my intellectual property, and then I will convert it. No different than the first picture of Bart Simpson does not look like what we see today, or the first picture of Mickey Mouse that was drawn by Walt Disney, what we have today. I needed to establish my universe. In the next 40 years, I'm gonna make a real run at Hello Kitty and Harry Potter and Star Wars, and I'm going to give it a run. And I feel very confident in my storytelling and marketing and demand creation capabilities.
What's the next auction that your followers can look forward to?
I don't, actually, I think that was what was so unique about today. I'm not really looking to do too much more. I'd like to keep the original drawings of Veefriends for my family, and then eventually, if I can pull off this agenda, hopefully it sits in an amusement park or a museum. And so I don't plan on, maybe once or twice a year for charity or things of that nature, but I'm not looking to really let any more of these pieces go.
All right, Gary Vaynerchuk, entrepreneur, CEO, and creator at Veefriends and NFT community. Gary, thanks so much for the time and congratulations on the sale today. Well, coming up, disc golf growing in popularity coming out of this pandemic. We're gonna take you inside the game when we come back.